Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Neverending DIY. Today, we are installing a brand new outdoor water spigot for my wife and her beautiful flower garden. Right now, she has this water hose that has to run all the way up and around the house. So there's a lot of back and forth walking for when she needs to water the garden. So we're gonna install a new outdoor water spigot right here on the side of the house. So she doesn't have to travel so far and she can just shut it on and off as she needs to. You're gonna need a few things for this project. Obviously, your new spigot. These things do come in various lengths, so you'll have to figure out how long you need it to go through the wall and be able to attach to your new plumbing. We've got a drill, so that way we can drill through. This is the proper size for this diameter pipe. My house is plumbed with CPVC, so I've got new pipe already downstairs in the crawl space, various fittings. This fitting butts into the CPVC, and then the other end threads into the new spigot. I've got this beautiful tool made by Husky. This thing is fantastic. If you're cutting CPVC lines, this thing is great. Ratchets down and just cuts it in a jiffy. Otherwise, you'll need a hacksaw or one of those rotary tools to be able to cut through this pipe. And then, of course, primer and cement, and then some fasteners so that way we can secure our piping and all that kind of stuff. But we're gonna go underneath the house and we're gonna pick a spot to drill through after we measure over and get an approximation on where we wanna be. We'll drill our hole, we'll run some new piping, we'll get everything threaded together, and I'll tell you a little bit about it along the way. So here we go. When I did some replumbing down here, you can see I've got a shutoff valve already installed. A lot of new plumbing carrying back. This is from our bathroom renovation. So I knew that I was gonna be doing this. So we're gonna meet in here. This is gonna be my shutoff for winter, when winter comes around, so that way we can cut the water off going over to that spigot so it doesn't freeze. So we're gonna run our new line all the way over here. This is a moisture barrier going up, and then this is our exterior wall. So we're gonna pull some of this moisture barrier down and get up in there. We measured over 4 feet, so somewhere around the 4 foot mark, we'll go ahead and auger our new hole through and get this spigot run. I know it was really hard to see with this plastic down, but I'm really not trying to remove any more of the moisture barrier than I have to. So here's our hole. I tried to make sure that I drilled it as straight as possible. I drilled from the back side in because I didn't want to hit this board here. And then of course, you know, you got the floor up top. I ran it through the wall as close to here as possible because our piping is going to be about the level of this joist right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go outside and we're actually going to put our spigot through that hole. So here's our hole. It's in a good spot. I'm really happy with that position. I didn't end up running into one of these slats, which makes me really happy. This is just wide enough to get this through. One of the things we are going to do is we are going to run some silicone back here before we mate this in. But I'm putting this in here just like this, so that way we can go underneath again, and we're going to connect our CPVC fitting to the end of that. If we tried to install this and then thread in our CPVC fitting, chances are pretty good that this thing's going to turn out sideways. So I put it in loose. We're going to go in there. We're going to thread our CPVC fitting on, and then we're going to come out here and we're going to screw this in. There's no gaskets or bushings or anything in there, so we are going to wrap this sucker with some Teflon tape or plumber's tape. And you want to wrap it in the direction that you are going to be tightening that fitting. Otherwise, the plumber's tape it'll unravel itself as you tighten your fitting on there. So how much do you say? Until it feels right. You know, you don't want too little, because what this is doing is it's preventing water from leaking out the threads. So because that thing's free on the outside, I can just kind of grab it and spin it. You know, we want a healthy amount, not too much. You know, I can still see the threads on there. Flatten it down, cover it back up. That's good and tight. That's good and tight. That's not going to leak any water. This little shim is there. It's designed to help point the spigot down a little bit once we screw it in place, and that's just so all the water drains out. That is nice and stout. I'm gonna give you a quick little how-to on gluing. This thing's fantastic. I'm just gonna cut a little piece off, because what I'm trying to do here, I'm not building rockets, so we don't need to have any precise measurements. Basically what I'm trying to do is we have our shutoff up there, and I'm trying to create a drain so that way once winter comes around, I can drain this line down here and make sure there's absolutely no water, so there's no chance of freezing. So we have our primer and we have our cement. These are sold in packs of 2. This thing will leak even coming from the store. It's terrible, but it is what it is. So we start with our primer. And we just go round and round and round. The primer does one of 2 things. It primes it and gets it ready for cement, but it's also cleaning this outside surface. So you see that dirt right there? Now it's purple, but there's no dirt. So we're priming, and then I'm gonna take the surface that I wanna mate to and just pop it in there just a little bit. You don't want so much on there that it's dripping, and I know I made it a terrible mess just by showing you guys how to clean that surface, but the glue goes on the outside, and you don't want it to bunch up. So you're just going round and round, in and out just a little bit, and then really quickly mate it together, give it a little turn, and now we wait. It says you want to hold it for 30 seconds because this will actually start to back itself out as the glue starts to solidify. This cement really does set up pretty quickly, so I'm just going to hold it for a second. And I already can't turn it, so we're starting to set up. So on the other end, I'm gonna do the same thing. Prime, prime, prime. A little bit of cement here. And I'm going into my T. This is gonna be my downspout for bleeding my valve. Make sure that valve's turned towards me, so that's good. Okay, so this is gonna hang down towards the floor. It's going to live in a closed position, but when I want to bleed the line, just go ahead and put a bucket under it and drain it out. So we're just going to pop that in there really quick. Prime and clean. Round and round, gently, just bloop. And then insert. Little half turn back and forth, making sure the glue's getting on all the surfaces. And we're going to hold it. And if you mess up with this stuff, you really have to start over. I mean, this fitting will never, you'll never get this stuff out. This is lifetime glue and stuff. So let's do the rest. I have one joint left. When I come into my 90, I usually like to give one of these a little bit of play. Being that this one's stationary, I've got it disconnected down there from my support, my bracket, so that way I can kind of slide this one in and out. And we're gonna glue all of these all at the same time, so that way, you know, I don't accidentally glue this 90 in the wrong direction. So just wanted to show you this last little piece. Final walkthrough on what we've done here today. We came off of this shutoff valve right here. We came over, we plumbed in a relief valve so that way I can drain the water. And we came all the way across. Every couple joists, I've got these hangers here so that way our line is nice and supported. We come all the way across, and then this plumbs over right into our spigot that goes through the wall. For wintertime, I am gonna come back and I'm gonna wrap all of this pipe in insulation, which is why I wasn't so worried about taking down our moisture barrier, things like that. I'm just gonna staple this back up. We're gonna let it dry for 2 hours, and then we'll turn our water on and make sure everything's running.
2 hours later.
Moment of truth. We have water. Guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. On to the next project.